Hello, everyone. I'm Robyn Grable, the founder of Talents Ascend and the Ascend Collective, and your host for Ascending Beyond Barriers. Welcome. Ascending Beyond Barriers is an inspiring podcast dedicated to showcasing the remarkable journeys of small business founders who have faced and overcome significant challenges on their path to success. Each episode delves into the personal stories of entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds, highlighting their unique experiences, struggles, and triumphs. Today, we're honored to welcome Emily Emmons, an award-winning nonprofit leader, veteran advocate, and solutionary dedicated to creating lasting change for veterans and military families. As a military spouse and caregiver to her combat-injured husband, Emily saw the challenges veterans faced firsthand. That inspired her to take action, founding Ho'ola Farms, a nationally recognized nonprofit providing hands-on agricultural training and career pathways for veterans. Through her leadership, she's built powerful partnerships with the USDA, VA, Department of Defense, ensuring military families have access to critical resources. Passionate about regenerative agriculture, food sovereignty, and veteran wellness, Emily is a force for innovation and collaboration. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about purpose, healing, and building a thriving community. I'm just almost tearing up, Emily, because we were talking before, and it's just such, I'm almost out of words. Just so beautiful what you're doing, what you've created, and I can't wait to talk about it. So, Ho'ola Farms, tell us where that is, because I know.
Yes.
That's a special meaning to me too, because I was stationed there in the Navy. So tell us where Ho'ola Farms is and how you got started with that.
Yes. So Ho'ola Farms is located in Hilo, Hawaii, which is on the big island of Hawaii. It's also, the real name is Hawaii Island, just so everyone is clear, but it's also known as the Big Island.
Yep.
And my family, my husband and I and our two daughters moved there in 2013 and found a lot of healing and reconnection after many years of deployments and time away from family and challenging work schedules.
Yeah.
And we found that growing food in our backyard not only started to help reconnect and heal our family and our own personal connection to each other, but also to our neighbors and our friends, and gave us and my husband an opportunity to reconnect in an authentic way that was meaningful for him as well. And we thought, hey, you know what? And actually, I give him a lot of credit. He was an elementary school teacher before 9/11, and then 9/11 happened, and he joined the Army shortly thereafter.
Wow.
And so even going back to everything that we do is in foundation of education. It's empowering others to be able to have the knowledge and the skills and the tools to be able to lead their own way, to forge their own path, to navigate. We're not here to be the experts in any one category. We're just here to hold space and bring in as many experts and opportunities to learn and grow as you can, so that you can decide what's best for you as you transition from, your military service into a civilian life.
Yeah, that's a big change. So tell us what Ho'ola means.
Ho'ola means healing or rejuvenation in Hawaiian.
Love that.
And we really felt connected with the opportunity to share the fact that the word farm is included in that, and how important the healing aspect is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in this generation now, younger generations, although I have my oldest grandcherub is almost 16. She is so into plants and planting. She actually wants to be an astronaut, to go to Mars and grow plants on Mars. It's amazing. So I'm happy to see that younger generation getting into it. I grew up on a farm. So I wasn't a big fan after I had to weed the garden every day as a kid. It was like, oh my gosh, but the food was so amazing. So I'm happy to see that next generation do that, but it does really, it's heartwarming to get back into nature, to see things grow, to see how you can impact something. And you can't think about anything else while you're focused on that. At least that's what I've found, especially in our gardens. And my aunt was a big gardener as well. So what what do you think is the best part of that whole process for somebody that you're using it to help other veterans and military families? So how does that help them?
Well, I think that, I mean, you brought a childhood memory back about weeding and the
Yeah.
importance of that, but what you gained from that was that your whole family had the opportunity to eat healthy,
Yes.
fresh food from your garden, and that you as a
Absolutely.
child were part of that. There
Yeah.
was purpose to what you were doing every day. You had
Yeah.
value and contribution to your family and your community. And I think that that is something that we don't allow our children to be a part of today. And so that also takes them away from the opportunity to have the value and the purpose and the understanding that their family needs them in order to survive also.
Yeah.
And so the same is true with veterans and their families as they're coming back and integrating in. There is a disconnect between where their values and their service are and how people see them. And so often, you know, the job and the career opportunity outside of the service is Home Depot or others. And although I value that opportunity for those that find that path to be the right one for them, and I think for a lot of farmers it's a great path because then they have the opportunity to work and get health care while also doing other things. So there's
Sure.
paths to where that makes a lot of sense, but that's not the outlet and the path forward for most individuals who are coming out of the service and their family members who have put aside dreams and hopes and education and other things in order to be part of that service unit. So what does that look like now? And I think again, the farming and entrepreneurial side of the food system, wherever you choose to be a part of that, it's such a family effort. And so again, it all ties back to the purpose and the value that comes with that. And so the end result is money. Sometimes the end result is product that could be turned into added value, or it could be given to donated, or it could be given to a friend or turned into a luau or a, you know, all kinds of different opportunities,
Yeah.
but at the source of it, it is a purpose. It's something that you're able to contribute to your community. And I think that as veteran families, that's something we've already done. We've already stood up and said that we were going to join and be part of something greater than ourselves. So it only makes sense to and have create communities in which they can come and reassociate once they
Yeah.
find their place when they
That's
decide
amazing.
to transition out.
Well, I would be remiss too, though, if I don't thank you for being a military spouse. It can be a very thankless, place to be. We know that military spouses, without them, we could not have the military that we have. It just wouldn't work. So thank you for all
Thank
you've
you.
done and all you continue to do as a caretaker. Being a caregiver is not easy. It's hard seeing your loved one going through what they're going through and trying to help them. And there's a fine line between, they still need their independence. They still need to be able to feel like they're contributing, but yet they need the care. So the other thing I think
Yeah.
about farms too is this generation. I think a lot of the younger generations don't understand where the food comes from. I think they think that it just magically appears in the grocery stores or magically appears in your whole food order that lands on your doorstep, right? And I
Yeah.
think we need to have these generations getting back to knowing where our food comes from and how we can contribute to that continuous growth there. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think, what do you see? What's the future for Huala Farms? We talked off camera about the growth and where you're going. Like you're in California now, and uh, where do you see the nonprofit going? Is it branching out into the mainland states?
Well, yes, we're still in Hawaii, we're still in Hilo, so we're not going anywhere. So that's the good news. But we do have the opportunity. We are looking for continued opportunities to expand in what we know and how we can utilize what we've learned over the last 10 years. I think now is a time for solutions, and we've been fortunate to spend the last 10 years really learning and understanding what to do, what not to do, ways to approach things, how to ask for and ask for what is needed and then look for ways to support that instead of just filling areas that you think need to be filled. We got a lot better at what we did when we started listening and stopped deciding that we knew everything for everyone. It was actually like a really beautiful
Good
uh,
lesson in there.
place to be. Yeah. And started bringing more of the experts in, holding space for people to make their own choices. We've worked with many, over 300 farmers and producers over the last 5 or 6 years, sold
Wow.
over $1 million in local produce to local consumers
Nice.
from our food hub and farm to car online farmers market. We're really
Nice.
proud of those those
Yeah.
numbers, and a lot of that is in building relationships and creating a more resilient community that people can trust, not just in times of need, which is how really all of our food hub and our food system came out of COVID, and the need to help not only grow the farmers, but help them distribute and sell the food that they had grown and all of a sudden lost market for. So we were
Yeah.
sitting in a room, in a place, in a space where I realized that there was no one coming to save us, and also that we were the ones we were waiting for, and that
Yeah.
once you put that cap on, similarly to becoming a caregiver, you really understand that you're not just a wife in the middle of a storm any longer, but you can be part of a solution.
Yeah.
And similarly, I felt like Hoola stepped into that moment in that time and decided that we could be part of the solution, even though we were on a rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And now I realize that we have the opportunity to share what we've learned with other places that may be looking for similar opportunities to support veterans and their families in a similar way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the future is bright. And I'll also mention that we've had a lot of opportunities that we're hopeful can still be in play with the Department of Defense and the VA in creating more food as medicine um, opportunities, because that's really our other avenue that we think
Good.
is the most beneficial. And we've had a couple of successful pilot projects now with Kaiser and the
Good.
VA in Hilo to do that. So we've got some that's a really exciting new project that
Yes.
could really help, I think, lift America up. The food is
Yeah.
medicine, tying in
Yes.
healthy indicators with the food we're eating, and then being able to purchase that locally so that we know we're creating more healthy regenerative soils, we're
Yeah.
sourcing local. When we buy local, we know that then those same exact dollars go right back into our
Back into
local
our
economy,
community.
which
Yep.
means that the farmer can send their daughter to dance class and she doesn't just have to pick weeds any longer, and that she can have dreams outside of that but still be a contributing member of her community in beautiful ways. And
Yeah.
I think that, that's the message, that's the story that I keep telling my staff, my volunteers, anyone who will listen during this time of uncertainty, is that
Yeah.
we can all be a part of this solution by showing up with our dollar everywhere that we go.
Yeah.
And we can choose where we spend that dollar and choose where we don't spend that dollar. And each one of those dollars, your dollar, my dollar, they all add up to dollars that matter, and that's something you can do every day. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm a firm believer in food as medicine. I mean, I have several issues, and food is for me. It's not a pleasure thing anymore. I have to be very careful about what I eat and
mhm.
what I put in my body. So, I truly get it, and it's amazing what the differences are when I eat something I know my body can't handle or doesn't like or just can't digest or whatever, but when I eat the healthier foods. But I also think that there's people that, I mean, everybody has some plot of dirt around their home that they could create some little garden and see things grow and see things happening. We talked off camera, and I think it's a good point I want to talk about. I think especially for veterans, when we come out of the military, there's these expectations that we're this, we've got a purpose bigger than ourselves, as you said too. And then who are we? And then there's expectations that we're supposed to be these great things, and you fail. Everybody fails, and you have to fail to learn. And you talked about how growing things, even if they don't turn out to be the beautiful rose that you thought you were growing, it's still important. So talk more
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, well, I think that that's one of the beautiful lessons in being able to just access. We provide victory gardens for veterans. So we bring a small scale garden out to the veterans' home, and they get
Nice.
soil and amendments and little plants and a
That's
victory
awesome.
of a gratitude rock. And we take the time
I love
to
that.
acknowledge the veteran and their family and their service and their sacrifice. So when we come with the Victory Gardens, we always share a handout that talks about the different phases of the plant and what to look for and like when it's fruiting and what that looks like and how to care for the plant. But it's also important to know that even if that plant, if the fruit doesn't look right or if a bug gets to that plant, that
Yeah.
that plant turns into compost that then goes back into the soil and breaks down and it heals the soil. It provides nutrients for that next season worth
Yes.
of soil and amendments so that the soil is actually healthier next year. And
Yeah.
so I think that those there's beautiful insights throughout nature is always there to remind us that there's always a chance for renewal. There's always a chance to find a new, to release what no longer serves us, and then to come back fresh again in the spring and be ready for what this year is to bring instead of
Yeah.
what last year was, because that's in the past now and it's no longer here.
Exactly. But I think because I'm always thinking about how to correlate things to skills and what we do at Talents Ascend. And I think the message there for me is that everybody has skills. Every plant, no matter how it turns out, serves a purpose and has skills. It contributes something. The same
Yeah.
thing for all of us human beings. We're all different and we look different and we act different and our brains work differently, but that's what makes us that little plant that is
100.
contributing in whatever way it needs to, whatever way it's supposed to. And we should celebrate that. We should
Yeah.
celebrate the people that we are and the skills that we bring to the table, and just the diversity of who we are. And my grandson is on the spectrum for autism, and he sees things black and white. There's just no gray area for him. And sometimes he gets really hung up on the black or the white. And it's hard for others to understand why he can't think like them. It's like, we don't need him to think like us. We need him to be his person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the same thing for veterans too. When we come back, a lot of us come back with invisible wounds, invisible things that nobody can see is wrong with us or happened to us. But that doesn't need to define us. It's
Yeah.
still, we're still a person with skills. And wow, just really amazing stuff. Well, I'm just, again, very grateful for all that you're doing. Touches my heart tremendously. I was stationed in Pearl Harbor for 3 years, so beautiful Hawaii is, and I did get to visit Hilo and
Good.
the island, the Big Island. So very beautiful place. So I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to
Okay.
talk about the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. Tell
All
us
right.
about that. Yeah, and your work with Congressman, was it Gabbard? Right? Am I pronouncing your name right? So
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. So,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
tell us
I
about
have been on a journey to, navigate what my next was after I became a
it.
caregiver or identified as a caregiver. And I was, the Elizabeth Dole Fellowship reached out to me shortly after, and I was lucky to join the 2015 class. So it's been
Wow.
10 years now that I have been a alumni fellow. I feel so grateful. I think with most fellowships you kind of come in and out, but with the
Yeah.
Elizabeth Dole Foundation we've just been family forever, and
Nice. Love
I am really grateful for that opportunity, and I'm really grateful for Senator Dole, to be honest. I She's really been a mentor and someone that I've looked up to in her courage and her ability to continue to be bipartisan and bring big groups of people together to tackle big challenges in thoughtful, kind ways and move the needle forward. And that is what I want to do and have always aspired to be. And seeing her as an example has always kept a big, bright light for me
that.
a focus of forward. And I'm forever grateful for her. And I've had the opportunity to tell her that in person and over the phone. She checks in
Wow.
on my husband regularly, calls and says hello on
Wow.
Saturdays. And again, those personal touches that she still thinks to care when she has a world in front of her, and
Yeah.
also could just be enjoying the view, which she has every
Yeah.
right to do, and yet she's still out making sure that she's holding space for all of us. And so I'm really grateful for that model and that example, and that helps me keep going. And then, yeah, working with Congresswoman Gabbard, I was her island rep in 2016 through 18, and I had the chance to understand level of or government issues at the local, state, and federal levels, and really understand where you can be most impactful depending on what the issues are and what the challenges are. And also, most importantly, I think, is that knowing that that people in Congress work for us, and that it is our job to speak on behalf of ourselves and to be heard, and it is their job to listen.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned from that opportunity, and holding space and representing the constituents of the Big Island was something that I am very proud of. And it was a great opportunity for me to represent and hold space for them and learn more about how I could be part of solutions. So that was at a time where it really allowed me to pave the way for how I could see a path forward, and
Nice.
and be part of the solution instead
Yeah.
of the problem. So
I love that. I love that.
we're the
Wow.
ones we've been waiting for.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to time here, but I just running a nonprofit, being an entrepreneur, a lot of barriers, a lot of challenges. Being a military spouse, being a caregiver, a lot of challenges. But as a business owner and a nonprofit, what would you say is your best advice for somebody who's thinking about starting a nonprofit? There are so many out there already. What would your advice be for somebody thinking about starting a nonprofit?
I would say reach out to your network and see if there's other organizations already doing the work that you're doing, and collaborate, offer your support and your help, see if there's a way to be part of the solution. I think one of the things that we're seeing right now at the food space level is that there's a lot of great work and a lot of things out there, and there was money to support those efforts, and now there's going to be a lot less of that money. And so there's just a lot of there's going to need to be more collaboration. There's going to need to be more coming together in order to get things done. And so I think as nonprofits, if you're passionate about that, look for others, look for mentors. And then, if you still feel really strongly, then that's even more of a reason why you should, because it's not out there. So, but I
Yeah.
would say reach out. I think LinkedIn is a great resource right now, to find like-minded folks or people of interest that you can, learn more about what they're doing, and then connect. And you don't have to
Yeah.
be. I think it's more professional, and it's not, the brain drain like other resources can sometimes at social media outlets, but provide a business opportunity for connection, and maybe help you think outside of the box from the way that you're currently thinking. So
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. I mean, we do that here too. We always think about, okay, we want to be, career ready focused. We want to be our skills matching and skills based hiring and helping employers understand what that is and valuing the skills of someone. There's so many other prongs of that, or so many other pieces that we could get into, but we do say, is there somebody that we can partner with that's already in that space, it's already doing great work in that regard, that we could just help support or promote or use their services? So
yeah.
yeah, very, very great advice. So all right, as we close out, give us one of your favorite stories about something that's happened with Hoola Farms. What's one of your best memories?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it just came to mind Amanda, so I'm going to share my story about Amanda, who started off just as a veteran who received a victory garden to her home. Her and her husband were both veterans, and they had just moved back home to Hawaii Her husband was from Hawaii originally, and so they moved back there to have their family and
Nice.
raise their family there. And she was 4-H club and all of that in California growing up, but had kind of disconnected from her experience in farming and ranching. But getting that Victory Garden kind of re-inspired her to start planting and growing again. And that turned into taking our 4-week classes and then our 6-month agriculture training class that's in partnership with Go Farm Hawaii and the university there. And then it turned into her being of the Hilo Farm Hub manager and working for us. And
Yay.
now she runs her own successful little small business as well. And it's just a beautiful full cycle system and a testament to, I think, when you give someone a seed and then watch it grow, you never know how or what it's going to grow into. And that's the best part. So
Yeah,
that's my
absolutely.
favorite part. You never
Oh my
quite
God.
know. It's always surprising you.
That is beautiful. I love that. All right. That's the perfect ending. I don't think we can top that. So
Mm.
thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for all that you're doing. Not just being a caregiver to your wonderful husband, but just the community overall. So thank you so
Thank you.
much. Honor
Mahalo.
to know you.
Thank you, Robyn. It was lovely chatting with you today. Thank you for your time.